I am pleased to introduce to you this morning, through the power of the internet and our Zoom host, Reverend Marie Phillips. As many of you know, Reverend Marie was a minister here and has moved to Florida, my home state, with her husband Chuck to be near their grandchildren. Reverend Marie has been working with the angels since she was 7 years old, from the time she started attending services at the Center of Enlightenment in 2011. She has felt it was a special place for her. And I keep talking to her and Reverend Gina about finding a church so we can have the Center of Enlightenment South. She was ordained at COE in March of 2017. She is known for her angel readings and spiritual healing. Please help me welcome Reverend Marie Phillips.
Hello, everyone, and good morning, everyone, today. Good morning.
Good morning, Reverend Marie.
Yes, raise the energy and saying your good mornings. And I welcome everyone, sending you a warm welcome from Florida. And I've been here almost a year and loving my grandchildren. Today, my topic is going to be the metaphysical meaning of Christmas. One of the things I remember about Christmas as a child is the wonderful different kinds of food brought forward by my mom and aunt. My dad was not happy with some of it. It was not to his taste. The relatives on my mother's side thought of Christmas as a great celebration of food and card games for the adults. Many people think of Christmas as celebrations and gift exchanging. The stores bring forth an emphasis on the material world of buying gifts. Over the years, I began to think about the significance of the Christmas story and what it represented. Today, my sermon will deal with the metaphysical symbolism of the Christmas story. We will be talking about the truths or ideas that symbolize the Christmas story. Currently, we celebrate the Christmas story in so many ways. Christmas is a story of rebirth, for we are finding our Christ self within us. When we understand the metaphysical meanings of the Christmas story, it can serve as a guide to our own spiritual transformation. My information for this sermon came from many different sources. One of the resources was a book named The Trip to Bethlehem by Hypatia Hasbrook. And there are books from Emmett Fox and the New International Version Study Bible and many other sources. There are many different symbols in the Christmas story. I will only talk about a few of them. The birth stories of Jesus are found in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. The difference between Luke and Matthew's birth accounts is that Luke's birth account is depicted through Mary's eyes, and Matthew's account gives details of Joseph. Luke's account shows shepherds, and Matthew's account shows the wise men. I will talk about the symbols from both Luke and Matthew's accounts. The traditional Christmas story is a combination of both Luke and Matthew's accounts. I will begin with Mary and Joseph's journey. Mary and Joseph did take a trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem and back. The trip was very difficult. The distance between Nazareth and Bethlehem is 94 miles. Under normal circumstances, it took approximately 10 days to walk that distance. You could only walk in the early morning hours because of the heat. You had to sleep on the roadside to rest. There were no facilities of any kind. During this round trip, a child is born, and they return as a family. A newborn child transforms a couple into a family. This journey is symbolic for the process of transformation. Our transformation takes time and effort and is challenging. The Christmas story itself illustrates our rebirth process from our ego self to our higher self. King Herod is a symbol of the ego. Our higher self or Christ self has infinite potential for expression. Our higher self is waiting for our recognition and awareness. The newborn baby in the Christmas story represents us in all our innocence and vulnerability, stripped of any trappings of the everyday lives. The image of a baby being born in the lowliest of surrounding, a stable, reminds us that on a spiritual level, there's no rich or poor, weak or strong. We are all equal. Every year we are reminded that what is being reborn is consciousness of our higher self, which operates from love, not ego. If we perceive the in as ourselves, our mind, it brings awareness that the phrase, "there is no room at the inn," may indicate that many times we fill our minds, our thoughts, with mundane things, leaving no room for spiritual understanding. We are fearful of allowing in even the smallest seed that we are indeed that spark of the divine being reborn. The crowded inn of the Christmas story symbolizes a temporary state or consciousness in which thoughts and feelings are mixed and confused. There is a price to pay for staying in such a state. We have the stable representing our heart to hold and keep safe our vulnerability. Although we must step outside of our mind, the inn, and abandon our cluttered thoughts to get to a calm, safe, open place that acknowledges our connection to Mother Earth, the stable. Mary and Joseph made the trip to Bethlehem because of the census that was meant to count people, because people symbolize thoughts and feelings. The world census symbolizes an environment of being counted, a material environment of being counted. The Hebrew meaning for Bethlehem means Beth is the house. Lahem means of bread. So, house of bread, house of living, house of sustenance. Bethlehem is also on a hill. The city represents a higher consciousness. Luke called Bethlehem the city of David because David's family lived there. Bethlehem was the center for the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin means son of good fortune. Metaphysically, the tribe symbolizes the faith, for through faith in God, good fortune comes. The name David means beloved. Metaphysically, David represents God as love. The city of David, Bethlehem, represents a state of consciousness dominated by faith and ruled by love. Mary symbolizes love in its highest sense. The love she symbolizes is the idea of eternal spiritual harmony with everyone and everything. She also symbolizes purity, as she is a virgin, and the eternal vitality and infinite possibilities. Joseph, as a male, symbolizes all aspects of the thinking nature. He also symbolizes wisdom. Jesus, as a newborn child, symbolizes bringing forward the thinking and feeling natures into cooperation for the process of spiritual evolution. Now we will direct our attention to the animals. Camels were a means of desert transportation over great distances. The camels in the story were added to indicate the wise men had traveled far. The camel symbolizes strength, endurance, and perseverance. The ox symbolizes positive human tendencies, self-sacrifice, patient labor, and productive energy. The lamb symbolizes purity, innocence, sweetness, and forgiveness, and thus harmlessness. The sheep were carefully tended, fed well, nursed when sick or wounded, sought when lost, and kept alive for as long as possible to provide wool and the income it brought for their owners. Shepherds had a difficult job that earned no rank in society. A shepherd's job was to watch over, to care for, and to provide for the creatures that depend upon him for their lives and well-being. Luke implies that the shepherds in the Christmas story own the flock they watched, since he calls it their flock. That they leave their flock, their wealth, untended to find the child clearly indicates the symbolic nature of this event. The shepherds represent the focus within us that protect and guard the valuable human virtues represented by sheep. They also represent thoughts that are faithful to God, that the shepherds are common folk who are at work in the fields by night signifies that the forces are present in the unconscious of everyone. For darkness or night is a frequent symbol for the unconscious phase of mind. The shepherds represent our guidance. For example, when we lose a loved one, thinking of God as a shepherd fulfilling this role gives us a sense that our loved one continues to be cared for in their journey to the afterlife. It also gives us a sense that we continue to be cared for in the absence of our loved one. The three magi, or wise men, were knowledgeable in many fields, and usually were astrologers who combined knowledge of the stars with other knowledge. The magi represent wisdom. Their gifts were gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold is a symbol for enduring wealth. A spiritual symbol of gold can be our unique spiritual gifts that each of us have. Another symbolic meaning for gold is spiritual wisdom. Frankincense is the essential oil produced from the resin of the boswellia tree that is not a native tree in Palestine or Persia. It had to be imported, was expensive and valuable because it was the only incense burned on the altar of the temple in Jerusalem. Frankincense is a symbol for holiness or purity. The presence of God and the potential for transmutation, which is the process by which our consciousness changes its orientation from focusing upon the material world to focusing on the divine love within. You move your focus from fear to love. Myrrh, also an essential oil, was used in ointments and perfumes and for embalming. Because of its association with perfume, it is a symbol for attracting power of love, peace, and bliss. The Christmas star was a common Jewish symbol that appeared in the sky to announce the birth of Jesus. The star in the Bible also announced the birth of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Moses. The stars that shine in the sky are considered by many as living beings. The astrologers at the time of Jesus' birth considered the stars as the abode of God. They symbolize ideas that come from God rather than from the process of human reasoning. So any star stands for a truth. The star that guided the wise men to Bethlehem to find the child has a special meaning. It symbolizes both the idea of the Christ self or higher self within and the power of that idea to lead us to its realization. It is important to note that only the three wise men could see the star. The brightest of the stars is associated with the light of Christ, which shines even in the darkness. It is the light which guides and shows us the right path to travel in life. The brightest of the star is a symbol of enlightenment. We are discovering the love within us that shines brightly once we reconnect to it. As we transform, we will become aware of the shining guidance within, and we all have it. During the annual rebirth, what is being born is the awareness of the love within. Whether we experience the loss of a loved one, a job, a house, or any other challenge that we may experience, it is guiding us to the love within, to our higher self, to reflect on our experiences and see them from a higher perspective and not the perspective we have been looking through. Christmas is a day of celebration. It is an opportunity to review where we are spiritually, to feel the rebirth of our own spiritual source, the love within, and to resolve to keep our light on a stand, to light not just our whole house, but to be a candle in the window of our house, a beacon of hope for others. No matter what our life circumstances are, we are reminded by a Christmas story that we are a blessing. Every one of us is a blessing. We are here for a purpose, and the divine intelligence that created us is active in our life as a source of divine love. As we find the light and love in others, and it's so important to do that, we will find it in ourselves. It is important that we open ourselves to the love within and just let it flow to others. We are meant to be that loving gift to those around us. I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Reverend Marie. That was so nice. And I really enjoyed the metaphysical story, and the metaphysical, behind the story. Hopefully we'll all search for that enlightenment. Thank you.